There's a moment every man knows. The moment she looks you in the eyes, turns away, and pretends you never mattered. Her tone shifts, her messages vanish, her presence turns cold. And you catch yourself wondering, how can she move on so fast while I'm still carrying all of this? But here's the warning most men never hear. You think she forgot you, but she didn't, not even close. A woman rarely reveals the moment she breaks, because the moment she breaks is the moment she loses control of the story. What she shows the world is a performance. What she hides is the truth. And that truth, brother, is far more complicated than you've been told, because the feminine heart doesn't detach when she walks away. It detaches the moment she feels your energy shift, when your silence suddenly has weight, when your absence echoes louder than her words, when she realizes she no longer determines the rhythm of your emotions. That's when her mask begins to slip, not when the relationship ends. What haunts her isn't the loss of you, it's the loss of the version of herself she could only feel in your presence. Women don't struggle to forget men who were needy or chaotic. They struggle to forget men with depth, men whose stillness calmed their storms, men whose presence made them more honest with themselves than they wanted to be. And that is why your absence unsettles her far more than her ego lets on. Her silence is not freedom, it's conflict. It's the beginning of a battle she never planned to fight. Before we go deeper, brother, if a part of you feels this truth tightening in your chest, start this journey now. Like this video and subscribe to Stoic Station so you never again lose control of your own story. And before we continue, drop a number below. Drop a 1 if you're still living inside the old narrative she left you in. Drop a 2 if you're ready to write your own. I read every comment, and your shift might be the spark another man needs tonight. And now, the first truth will make you realize she never walked away. 1. The echo she never expected, the imprint that outlives your presence. Brother, the most unforgettable men in a woman's life are never the ones who loved the loudest. They're the ones whose silence altered the temperature of her world without saying a word, and whether you realize it or not, that silence of yours is still echoing in her today, long after the noise of the breakup faded. Most men carry a quiet wound in their chest, the haunting question, why does it feel like she moved on, while I'm the one still thinking? But what if the truth is the exact opposite of what your mind keeps whispering? What if the part of her that mattered most never moved on at all? Because when you walked away calmly, no begging, no chaos, no bitterness, her mind may have labeled it as space, but her body registered it as loss. The imprint you left wasn't intellectual, brother. It was physiological. It didn't sit in her thoughts. It settled in her nervous system. And that's why every man who comes after you is fighting a battle he doesn't even know exists. He may talk more, he may try harder, he may show up faster, but none of them give her nervous system the same grounding she felt when you simply breathed next to her. That contrast haunts her more than she will ever admit out loud. Because when a man brings stillness into a woman's life, her body memorizes it before her mind can understand it. And the day you left, that stillness left with you. Late at night, when her world finally stops moving, that's when she feels it again. The imbalance, the missing calm, the subtle off sensation she can't quite explain to anyone, not even herself. That's not nostalgia. That's not confusion. That's not weakness. That is her body remembering you better than her ego wants to. Because the truth is simple. Emotions can lie, pride can deny, but the body never forgets the person who regulated its storms. That's why she'll never forget you. You didn't touch her mind, you regulated her system. You didn't change her thoughts, you changed her rhythm. Stillness leaves deeper fingerprints than passion ever could. Passion excites. Stillness transforms, and transformation is something the heart never fully lets go of, no matter how much time passes or how many new faces appear. She can replace a man, She can replace attention, affection, even love itself. But she cannot replace the version of herself she became when she was with you. The calmer, softer, more grounded version her nervous system trusted. That version of her is tied to you, and that is why you remain unforgettable long after the world assumes she has healed. But brother, this is only the first reason she'll never forget you, because the deeper truth begins in the part she tries hardest to hide, the mask she wears so no one sees what your absence truly did to her. And once you understand that mask, the entire story changes. 2. The armor she wears in public, the ego that can't outrun the truth. If she looks unbothered, brother, that is the very first sign she is anything but. Women don't perform peace when they truly have it. They perform it when they're losing the war inside. The world may see a woman who's shining, laughing, glowing, but you and I both know what you've wondered. How can she be fine this fast? You scroll past the posts. You see the sudden makeovers, the louder nights out, the carefully curated joy, and you feel that sting in your chest because it looks like she's thriving while you're rebuilding yourself piece by piece. But here's the truth. No one tells men your age. When a woman is genuinely done, she doesn't announce it to the world. She disappears quietly. No theatrics, no performance, no grand display. She doesn't need an audience for closure. But when she's fighting herself, when her heart and ego are dragging her in opposite directions, she turns her life into a highlight reel, hoping the noise outside will drown out the noise within. All that energy she puts into looking unbothered is the exact proof that she is anything but. Her ego wants control, her emotions want comfort, and your silence, your steady, unshaken silence, triggers both at once. So she does the only thing she knows how to do. She tries to outrun her feelings by pretending she doesn't have any, but every exaggerated smile is a crack in the armor. Every curated moment is a confession. Every loud performance is a whisper of truth. If I stop moving, I'll feel him again. And nothing terrifies her ego more than being forced to feel what she worked so hard to suppress. Because the stillness you chose removed her power. The moment you stopped reacting, you removed her script. You stopped feeding the emotional dynamic she once depended on, and your steadiness forced her to face the parts of herself she was using you to avoid. That's why she'll never forget you. You exposed the difference between her real strength and the performance she shows the world. You revealed the space between who she is and who she pretends to be. And that kind of revelation doesn't fade with time. It follows her. Her mask may fool her friends, it may fool the world, it may even fool the man she dates next, but it cannot fool her body, because the truth she doesn't want to feel is the truth her nervous system already knows. She is not as fine as she looks. And once the mask cracks, brother, the mystery begins, because now she has to confront not just the loss of you, but the loss of the control she thought she had over the story. 3. The puzzle. She can't solve the mystery born from your silence. Nothing captivates a woman more than a man she can't read, and nothing terrifies her more than losing her ability to predict him. Brother, your silence didn't push her away. It made you unforgettable. She was used to the old you, the version she could map with her eyes closed. Your reactions, your patterns, your emotional doors. She knew what triggered you, what soothed you, what brought you back every time. But suddenly, all of it shut. Quietly, completely, and without warning. You didn't become cold, you became calm. You didn't become distant, you became centered. You didn't become weak, you became unreadable. And for a woman, unreadable is a form of emotional gravity. Uncertainty is gasoline to the feminine mind. It ignites curiosity, amplifies awareness, heightens attention. She can't ignore what she no longer understands, so she scrolls your profile in silence. She rereads old messages she once skimmed over. She hovers over your name, then stops because she isn't trying to get your attention anymore. She's trying to understand you. And here's the secret no one teaches men. Humans don't obsess over what they fully understand. They obsess over what they almost understand, what feels just out of reach. You, brother, became a puzzle with one missing piece, and her mind will not rest until she finds it. Your silence did what no argument, no explanation, no emotional plea ever could. It forced her curiosity to collide with her memories. It forced the question she never expected to ask. Who has he become without me? Every unanswered question pulls her deeper. Every detail she notices creates 10 more possibilities. Every observation turns into a theory she can't quite prove. You are no longer the man she once dated, the man she thought she had figured out. You are the man she can no longer define. And nothing is more unforgettable than a man who evolves beyond the story she wrote for him. Because predictable men are forgettable, predictable men are replaceable, but mysterious men, men who shift their energy, reclaim their center, and break the emotional patterns she relied on, become unforgettable. That's the paradox your silence created. You didn't chase her, you didn't explain yourself, you didn't try to rewrite the story. You simply became a version of yourself that no longer revolved around her, and that change forces her to reevaluate everything she thought she knew. The old map no longer works, the old assumptions collapse, the old sense of control dissolves, and the mystery begins weaving itself into her emotional memory. But brother, mystery is only the beginning, because once her curiosity awakens, something even deeper follows. The emotional memory she can't replace, and that is where everything starts to shift. 4. The standard you accidentally set, the emotional memory she can't replace. Here's a truth most men don't realize until years later. You don't become unforgettable because she misses you. You become unforgettable because she can't recreate what she felt with you. That's the part that hits her long after the dust settles. She tries to move on, tries to date again, tries to start fresh, but something always feels uneven, and she can't explain why. She just knows that every new beginning feels slightly misaligned, like a picture hung just a little crooked on the wall. It's because women do not remember men logically. They remember men emotionally. They remember the sensation of peace, the grounding energy, the steady presence. They remember how their mind slowed down around you, how their breathing softened, how their shoulders relaxed without them even noticing. And she hasn't felt any of that since you left. Every interaction with a new man reminds her of what's missing, not what's present. The new guy may be fun, but he's not calming. He may be confident, but he's not grounding. He may be available, but he's not emotionally safe. And her body knows the difference even when her ego refuses to acknowledge it. She can deny it. She can distract herself. She can pretend she's moved on. But her nervous system can't lie. Not about the peace she once felt, and not about the chaos she feels now. So she feels the tension building under the surface. Why does everything feel slightly off? Why does excitement come tied to anxiety? Why does attention not feel like connection anymore? Because she wasn't addicted to you. She was addicted to who she became around you. The regulated, calmer version of herself. The version that didn't feel like she was constantly bracing for impact. And the moment she stepped into a new story, she realized something she never expected. You were not the comfort she ran from. You were the comfort she hasn't been able to recreate. You didn't just raise her expectations of men. You raised her expectations of herself. You elevated her internal standard without ever meaning to. Your presence became her emotional home, and every man after you feels like temporary shelter. She tries to settle into these new connections, but her body keeps whispering the truth. This doesn't feel like him. This doesn't feel like us. Once a woman experiences genuine peace, chaos becomes intolerable, and that truth plants the seed of regret, the stage she cannot outrun, no matter how strong her ego wants to appear. Because emotional memory is the one standard she cannot lower, and you, brother, became the benchmark she never meant to set, but now cannot forget. 5. The realization that haunts her. The regret she can't disprove. Regret doesn't scream, brother. It whispers, and the whisper is your name. It arrives quietly, slipping beneath her defenses long after she believed she had everything under control. She thought she won. She thought she moved faster. She thought she chose herself. But time has a brutal way of exposing illusions, and life has an even harsher way of showing her what she didn't see when it mattered. One day it hits her out of nowhere, a scent that reminds her of a night you held her, a song from a drive you took together, a place you once walked side by side, or simply a rare moment of silence in her otherwise crowded day. Suddenly the memory she buried resurfaces like it never left. It doesn't ask permission. It doesn't soften the blow. It comes back with full clarity, carrying a truth she's not ready to face. She tries dating to escape it. She tries distractions to outrun it. She tries convincing herself she's fine, but the comparisons won't stop. Every new man highlights the gap. Her mind keeps cycling back to what she had with you, not because she wants the relationship again, but because she can't replicate how she once felt. Her body keeps remembering the calm, the steadiness, the subtle peace of being with a man who never demanded attention but naturally commanded it. Her ego may fight it, but her nervous system keeps telling the truth. Then the realization devastates her with a precision she never expects. I didn't lose a man. I lost balance. That type of truth doesn't fade. It rewrites the entire narrative of the breakup. It forces her to reconsider not just you, but herself, the choices she made, the impulses she followed, the comfort she traded for excitement she thought would fulfill her. What she called independence was sometimes avoidance. What she labeled as self-growth was, in reality, self-distraction. She'll never forget you because you represent the version of herself she liked the most. Calmer, softer, safer, more grounded. You made her feel like home within her own skin. You weren't just part of her life. You were a mirror reflecting her most peaceful self back to her. And that's something she can't replicate with new men, new stories, or new environments because it wasn't external. It was internal. It was who she became around you. Regret becomes permanent when it forces self-awareness, when it makes her confront the reality she avoided while chasing the illusion of moving on. And that regret always leads her right back into your orbit, not necessarily to return to you, but to grapple with the man she underestimated and the peace she didn't recognize until it was gone. And brother, once regret settles in, the next stage becomes inevitable. She begins to reach back, not out of longing, but out of a truth she can no longer deny. 6. The pull she can't ignore. The moment she returns. She doesn't return because she misses you. She returns because life finally showed her the cost of losing you. That's the part most men misunderstand. They see the message, the emoji, the sudden reappearance, and think it means reconciliation. It doesn't. It means she's testing the frame, testing the strength of the man she once knew, testing whether the silence you held was a moment of survival or the beginning of a transformation. She sends something small, almost insignificant on the surface, a simple "hey," a random emoji at an odd hour, a memory she pretends just popped up, a joke you once shared that she suddenly remembered. She doesn't send these to reconnect. She sends them to measure the man you've become. She wants to know if the emotional access she once had still exists, or if the silence that unnerved her was the birth of a new version of you, one she no longer understands, can't predict, and isn't sure she can influence. This is where most men fall into the trap. If you respond too warm, her ego relaxes, and she rewrites the story. He never really left. If you respond too cold, her defenses activate, and she retreats into pride. But if you respond calmly, steadily, with the grounded energy you built during the silence, she feels the shift in power immediately. She realizes she's not reaching out to reconnect. She's studying you. She's assessing the man you now are, trying to gauge whether she still has a place in your world or whether she was replaced by your own evolution. Because the terrifying truth for her is this: what if the man she once knew evolved into the man she always wanted without her? That question alone keeps her up at night. It forces her to confront the possibility that you didn't just heal, you grew, that you didn't just move on, you elevated, that you didn't just let go, you transcended. And the moment she senses this, the pull begins. Not toward the relationship, but toward the man who finally became centered, sovereign, and emotionally untouchable. Your task when she returns is simple: stay centered, stay grounded, and stay in the identity you built during silence. Respond, but don't chase. Acknowledge, but don't overgive. Engage, but don't orbit. She's not trying to reclaim the old dynamic. She's trying to feel out the new one. And the more consistent your stillness, the more undeniable your growth becomes. She will never forget the man she couldn't break, the man she couldn't predict, the man she couldn't replace. But the final reason she'll never forget you isn't found in her return. It's found in the man you became because of the loss, not in spite of it. And that evolution is what leads to the last, most unforgettable truth of all. 7. The man she never saw coming, the transformation that burns into her memory. Brother, the moment she realizes you didn't just survive the loss, you evolved because of it, is the moment she knows she will never forget you. She expected a certain outcome, one she believed she understood. She thought you would hurt, that you would wait, that you would crumble under the weight of losing her. She thought you would chase, orbit, or try to convince her of your worth, but you did the opposite. And that reversal is what etches you into her memory deeper than love, deeper than longing, deeper than anything she can logically explain. You rebuilt your life from the inside out, your discipline, your peace, your habits, your strength. You became a man whose value is no longer tied to being chosen, wanted, or validated. A man who stands on his own center rather than on the shaky ground of someone else's approval. You evolved from emotional dependency into internal sovereignty, and nothing is more unforgettable to a woman than witnessing a man rise after she assumed she was the anchor that kept him steady. And that transformation strikes the deepest part of her pride. It whispers the one line she never imagined she'd say: "He turned into everything I wanted after I left." Nothing burns into memory more fiercely than the realization that she misjudged a man, underestimated him, or believed she had already seen his peak. Because now, every room you walk into, every decision you make, every ounce of calm strength you radiate forces her to confront a truth she never wanted to face. She didn't leave a broken man, she left the man who was about to rise. Life itself will keep reminding her of that. Not with dramatic moments, but with subtle reminders. The way other people respect you now, the way your presence carries more weight, the way your silence no longer feels like retreat, but command. This is the version of you she never prepared for, the version she can never unsee. Your evolution is the real reason she'll never forget you. You found yourself when she expected you to fall apart. You reclaimed your identity when she believed she had taken it with her. You discovered your center when she thought she had shaken it. You became sovereign at the very moment she assumed you were lost. And a woman cannot forget the man who grows into a mountain after she walks away. Her memory of you isn't tied to the relationship, it's tied to your rise. It's tied to the man she never saw coming, the man she didn't believe existed, the man she unknowingly helped forge through absence. And that, brother, is why she'll never forget you. Not today, not years from now, not ever. To stay aligned with that evolution, Practice the Stoic habits that built your foundation. Hold a 60-second breath check whenever emotion tries to hijack your response. Journal one sentence a day. What am I no longer willing to chase? And ground yourself in stillness for 5 minutes each day so your silence becomes training, not reaction. Rebuild your rhythm through sleep, movement, mission, and solitude. And most importantly, observe without interpreting, because mastering that muscle is what frees you from attachment and keeps you in the identity she'll never forget. Brother, if you're still here, it means one thing. A part of you is done living small, and you're ready to become the man she will never forget. Not because she lost you, but because you finally found yourself. If any part of tonight's message struck something inside you, don't run from it. Don't silence it. Honor it, because that feeling you're noticing right now, that tightness in your chest, that fire in your gut, that quiet voice saying, "This is who I could have been," that is not pain. That is your rebirth calling your name. And brother, you don't ignore a calling like that. Before you leave this video, I want you to do one thing. Drop a "still rising" in the comments, so every man in this brotherhood knows you're not done, not broken, not defeated, but rising, silently, powerfully, relentlessly. If you're new here, make sure you like, subscribe, and join the journey with us here at Stoic Station, where men rebuild themselves from the inside out, through silence, strength, and unshakable self-respect. And remember this final truth, brother. The man she forgets is the man who stayed the same. The man she remembers forever is the man who rose without looking back. Stay disciplined, stay untouchable, stay sovereign. I'll see you in the next video. Your transformation starts now.